Mom, get ready.
Hi, we're coming to you today to show you how to make a mermaid monofin. So we're going to go over some of the things that we need. Okay, you're going to need some plastic canvas. This can be found in your craft store. It has little holes in it. It's used to make different art projects. And for our purposes, because it's pretty flexible, we're going to get 2 of those and put those 2 together. You're also going to need, put those to the side, you're also going to need a pair of flip-flops that fit your mermaid. Just the generic dollar flip-flops are fine. Some scissors, a knife. Please be careful with your knives. You're also going to need an awl. Also be extra careful with this. If you don't have an awl, you can use like a large nail or a Phillips screwdriver, but please be careful with these. You're going to need some duct tape. I'm going to use some yarn. Now this yarn is just for stabilization purposes, so it technically could be skipped, but I want to keep everything together and keep it all aligned. And then you'll also need a needle, a yarn needle, to do the stabilization with. You're going to need some zip ties. We have various sizes of zip ties here, so you'll be able to cut those off. So whatever zip ties you have. A marker, and then your fluke pattern. Now what we did for the fluke pattern is I laid the flip-flops on a piece of wax paper, and then I traced around the half of it so that I could get how narrow it was going to be at the top, and then I laid it on my plastic canvas to get the dimension, and then we just, you can see here how we played with the fluke a little bit to get the exact design that we wanted. So this is the shape that we came up with for the tail. So this is all the stuff that we need to start. We're also going to make another video that has the actual sewing of the tail after we finish the fluke. So this is just for the monofin, and then we'll do the tail a little bit later. So what you're going to do to start with after you make your pattern for your fin is we're just going to take the yarn and we're going to stabilize these 2 pieces together, because I want the holes to all align. That's going to be important later when we use our zip ties, that the holes match up. So I'm just going to randomly whip the plastic canvas together. It's just like sewing. It does not have to be neat. All this is doing is actually keeping it together. So as you can see, we're just
Moving it through.
Running these through very widely, because this, like I said, this is just for stabilization. Okay, so once you do that, you're going to lay your fluke pattern onto your plastic canvas, and then you're going to just trace it with a marker. And we will be back right after we're done with that. Once you trace it with the marker, then you cut it out. So we'll be back after we trace and cut it out. Alright, so we put together our 2 pieces of plastic and we whipped them around the edges with yarn, and then I just took plain duct tape and went around the edges. This is so that it won't poke your fabric when it's in your tail. And now we're ready to attach the flip-flops, and as you can see, I've already done one, and I'm going to show you how we do that. I took our pattern that we had made for our tail, and I marked the middle on our piece of plastic so I would know exactly where to place the flip-flops so they would be even. And then you take your flip-flop and your awl, and you want to use a board or something so that you don't poke yourself or poke your table or anything. And then you're going to start at about the arch of the foot, and we made 2 places on either side and 1 at the toe that we're going to run our zip ties through. And you're going to want to make these about at least a 1/2 inch to 1 inch apart. And you want to make them at least 1/4 of an inch or a little more away from the edge of the flip-flop, because you don't want it tearing through the edge of the foam of the flip-flop. So you're just going to take your awl and you're going to put it on the board, and you're going to put some even pressure and go down and make sure it goes all the way through the flip-flop like that. You can see it goes all the way through. And then you'll make your second hole, like I said, about a 1/2 inch to 1 inch away from the one that you just made, so that you'll have something for the zip tie to hold on to, but far enough apart that it won't rip through. Then what I did was I took just a knife. You can use an X-Acto knife, or I just used a table knife. And you're going to make a little small slit about 1/8 of an inch deep in between the two holes that you made. You can see right there, it just is barely a slit, because what we're going to want to do is when we put the zip ties through, we want it to sink down into the foam just a little bit, so that it won't rub the top of your mermaid's foot or the bottom of your mermaid's foot. Right now, you gotta not get in the shot, honey. So it won't rub the bottom of your mermaid's foot. So now we're going to attach it to the plastic canvas. Like I said, I've already done this one, and we're going to attach the second one the same way. Raina, you need to go over there. We're going to have to cut this part out. Here, take your juice. Thank you. Well, you can't. Dad's got this set up, and it's all kind of tenuous, so you just need
what
to.
happened?
All right, so we took our 2 pieces of canvas and we laid them together to line the holes, and then we whipped around the edges with the yarn, and then I covered the edges with plain duct tape, just so that it won't catch your fabric when your monofin is in your actual mermaid tail. The next step we're going to do is we're going to attach the flip-flops to the monofin. As you can see, I've already done one, and I'm going to show you how we got this done. I took the pattern that we made for our monofin and I laid it on the plastic, and I just marked the very center so that we could tell which side the flip-flops were on, so they would be even. Then you're going to take your flip-flops and you're going to use your awl. You want a board or something so that when you push your awl through, it doesn't damage your table or your hand. And what we're going to do is we're going to take 2 places on either side for a zip tie, and then 1 at the toe. So you're going to want to take your awl, and starting at about the arch of the flip-flop, you're going to press down and make a hole. And it's going to go all the way through. You want to make sure that the awl comes all the way through, just like that. Now the second hole that you're going to make, you want it to be at least a 1/2 inch to 1 inch from the first hole, because you don't want your zip tie pulling through all the way through the foam. You want something for it to grab onto. So we're going to make our second hole just like the first, all the way through, and we're going to do that at 4 points along the sides, here at the arch, once again here kind of at the widest part, and then here across the toe. Once you have those holes made, you're going to take your knife, and it can be a table knife, it can be an X-Acto knife, whichever you'd like, and you're going to just cut a small slit between the 2 holes that you made. And this is so, you can see here, just a tiny little slit right between those holes. And this is so that that zip tie will sink down into the foam of the flip-flop, and it won't rub the bottom of your mermaid's foot. So it'll be nice and comfortable. So now that we have all of our holes on our flip-flop, we're going to place it right on the monofin, just like that. Okay, you see we already have the one in place. We're going to place it just like that, and we're going to come up through the bottom of the plastic canvas. I had to make a little hole because my duct tape was kind of right on the edge there, and I want this fastened real close to the edge. So you're going to take it up through the bottom, and then through the bottom hole that you made in your flip-flop. And this can be a little tricky sometimes because the bottom hole isn't always quite as nice and neat as you got the top hole. You can always take and once you've made your hole through, you can run all through the back side if it's not cooperating with you very well. Gotta twist my zip tie around here. I put it through the wrong way. So you're gonna pull it through the bottom, and then you're gonna push it right back down through that other hole that you made, like so. And then it's gonna pull through from the bottom, okay? And it should be nice and snug. And then you're gonna run it right through just like you would how the zip ties work. And you're gonna snug it up really tight. There we go. Really nice and tight. And you can see how that pulls down into the, thank you, Raina, how that pulls down into the flip-flop there so it doesn't make a bulge and there's no rubbing. So once you have it pulled down, then you're gonna cut your zip tie just like that. And you're going to continue to do that all the way around until you have your flip-flops secured onto your monofin. Then what you're going to notice on the back side is that you have these little bumps from your zip ties, and you're just going to take and duct tape all across that so that that will not poke your fabric either. So you've got duct tape around the edges so it won't poke your fabric, and then you're going to duct tape over the bottom of these zip ties so that they don't poke your fabric either. Alright, we are back, and as you can see, we have attached both flip-flops to our fin with the zip ties, and you can see how nicely they've pulled down into the flip-flop so that they won't hurt your feet at all. And then we took on the back side and put duct tape all across the back because those zip ties will create little sharp points, and we don't want that to ruin our fabric. So we've just taken a couple layers of duct tape and gone across the bottom here to cover those up so that they won't hurt your fabric. And there you have your homemade monofin. The monofins that you buy are between $45 and $54, and we have made ours for less than $10, depending on where you get your supplies and if you already have duct tape. But you know, less than a dollar for the flip-flops, a couple dollars for the plastic canvas, your duct tape, and your zip ties. So I hope that this helps you to make a monofin at home. And if you tune back in, we're going to have another video showing how we sew the tail with our monofin. Thanks for watching.